What's good, YouTube? I appreciate y'all clicking on the video. $20,000 from wholesaling real estate. I'm gonna get straight into it because I know y'all don't like long ass videos, and quite frankly, I don't want to waste y'all time. If you like what you see, man, like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any more questions, please follow me on Instagram at zjones.1. All right, guys. So I'm gonna share my screen first. And I know it's very contradicting to start this on YouTube because you're on YouTube, but I'll be honest with you. That's how I started. And that's how I learned. I'm trying to take you guys through the process on what the foundation is on how do you actually get started with this. Now, in order to realize how we're going to get our first deal, some people might be on this video and have no idea what is wholesaling. So let's get that out the way first and see what comes up first. Like I want a 2-minute video, and this is perfect right here.
Wholesaling is a real estate process where the wholesaler earns money by getting a property under contract for one price and then assigning the contract to another person for a higher price. The difference between the two prices is the amount of money the wholesaler earns. Here's an example. You, the wholesaler, find a person who is motivated to sell his house for whatever reason. Maybe he inherited the house, or maybe he's getting divorced, or needs the money for medical reasons. Whatever. He's motivated to sell. You and the seller agree on a sales price, let's say for $60,000, and sign a purchase and sales agreement. Now that you have the house under contract, you find a buyer who can pay cash for the house. You offer to sell him the house for $70,000. He agrees because he knows that if he pays $70,000 for that house, he can still make a profit if he fixes and flips it or fixes it and keeps it as a rental. You assign your purchase and sale agreement to the cash buyer. At a future agreed upon date, the seller and the buyer meet at a title company or at an attorney's office to sign the paperwork. The buyer pays $70,000 for the house, the seller gets his $60,000, and you get your $10,000. Not bad.
I want to go back to about right here where she says you and the seller agrees to a sales price. So in our particular situation, me and the seller agreed to a sales price, and I think the price was 185,000. 185,000, and we reassigned it for 205,000. I believe. Yes, that's the correct number. So they agreed to sell it in this situation for $60,000, and you, the wholesaler, has the house under contract. You don't own the rights to the house. You have the house under contract, and you find a buyer and sell those rights for a fee. Now, whatever that fee is, it could be $10,000, $5,000, or in this case, it was $20,000. So I'll let her continue. Now, that's also an important part. When you, as the wholesaler, are going to an end buyer and they can make a profit on the property, it doesn't matter how much you got the property under contract for. If you're talking to a real investor, they're not going to bombard you about, hey, man, how much did you get that house under contract for? They're just going to say, this number works for me. I'll pay you your fee, and we can both have it. So that's closing the deal, going to an attorney office and closing it up. So in this situation, I also show you on here, title company that we used was called Blue Ocean Title, if you can see that. So I'm going to exit out of this one, and then I'm going to pull up this information, and I'm going to make sure I blur this out because of YouTube. So here it is, guys. How do I find some of these properties? So what you're going to do is you're going to go into your neighborhood. A lot of people want to tell you to go on Zillow, go online. You don't know those areas, or you may not be familiar with that neighborhood. The best thing for you to do is go into a place that you're familiar with. And the houses that need work, something simple. You get you a Google sheet like this right here, and you okay, I might be moving too fast for even myself, guys. I apologize. So once you get this Google sheet, you might have the address. So let's say if you're in the neighborhood and you find an address and it says 909 Free Silver Road is the address. How do I find that information for the phone number and the first and last name. So this is what I'm going to do, guys. Something simple right here. I'm going to go to cyberbackgroundchecks.com, and then you can take this address that I have right here. Let me get my address back because I accidentally closed it out. You can take this address, bring it back over to Cyber Background, put in Nashville, Tennessee. Then once you type that in, you should have some similar, so they know I'm not a robot. So let's see what we have over here. Ulyss Bettingfield is what we have. Let's see if we find a Ulyss Bettingfield. So this is probably the owner if I do cross reference because we both have this. Now, if I'm being honest, guys, let me take this out of here so you guys can see my face. Now, if I'm being honest, guys, any one of these people could potentially be the owner, but 9 times out of 10, if I do a cross reference, these were people that rented the property or have owned the property in the past, and Ulyss Bettingfield would be the current owner. So something as simple as being in your neighborhood, finding a house that needs work, going online. Google Sheets is free. You can go get Google Sheets. Once you get Google Sheets, put the address in here, put their first and last name. Once you go to Cyber Background Checks, if you can't find it at Cyber Background Checks, here goes another website. Free True People Search is what you can also look up. And let's see. True People Search. This one also works. So you can do the address lookup, or you can do a phone number lookup, or anything. But back to what's important, guys. It's actually building a list. So this is the main thing, building a list. Now, it is true. You can go on PropStream, you can go on Batch Leads and go for a paid list. But once you go for a paid list, it's so saturated from people that do a lot of marketing and cold calling that you don't have the same hit rate as you would if you went into your personal neighborhoods to go see houses that actually have motivation. So once you have this list, what you're going to do is you're going to call the numbers on this list and say something as simple as, hey, are you the owner of 123 Main Street? If they say yes, then you're also going to follow that up with, are you looking to sell this property for cash? If they say no, you can hang up the phone, try again in another 30 days or another 2 months. So, okay, then let's say Ulyss Bettingfield, the first person doesn't pick up. You go through this entire list and you finally get a yes. Somebody says, hey, I do want to sell my property for cash. Once they say they want to sell their property for cash, you're going to download what is called a purchase and sales agreement. Now, I do have a purchase and sales agreement, and I found out a way to get that to you guys. Let's see if I have a purchase and sales agreement in here. Okay, so yeah, here's one. So here's one for 103 Magnolia. So what you're going to do is you're going to get a purchase and sales agreement, and whatever price you get it for, you're going to put the addresses in here. You're going to say, look, I already have Blue Ocean title in here, and it can only be 2 pages. I mean, purchase and sales agreement, 2 pages. Let me go back to it for you guys. You're going to have a couple of things in here. You can have earnest money here in the contract. And I was looking for my camera, so that's how you can turn $100 into $20,000. So it's just simple with this piece of paperwork because theoretically, this $100 is giving you the rights to this contract. Now, once you have this under contract, you'd be like, okay, Z, now I told these people I'm going to buy this house in this case for $280,000. Where do I find a person that has that type of money? And you might be surprised. Something as simple as Facebook. So you can go to Facebook groups, and I don't think Facebook is going to allow me to share my camera here. So you can go to Facebook groups and you can type in things like Florida real estate investor for cash buyers and say, and type in the property. And I'll give you an exact, as a matter of fact, I can go in one of these groups and uh find one of mine. I tried to go into Paces, but let's see. Cause Pace Morby, I know I have some post in Paces stuff, but I don't think Pace has a group anymore. All right, guys, taking too long here. Oh, creative finance right here. It's right in front of my face. I'm gonna type in my name, and it'll actually give you a ad copy on how something should look. So here it goes, huge discount. How about that, guys? We go in here and we find the property. Huge discount. Here's actually one of the properties that we sold. So you get this property, you bring it in here, and if you don't have those people, how about let's do this? Cash buyers near me. And then once we do that, we can say, let's go to this list right here. So once you go to this list, just call up these people and say, priority home buyers. Hey man, I have a property under contract that needs a little work. Are you guys currently buying homes in this zip code? Then they'll say yes or no. And then more than likely you're going to find somebody that you can reassign that to. And then once you're able to do that, you're going to take them from a purchase and sales agreement to a assignment of contract. If I can find that, this is a sub two purchase and sales agreement, assignment of contract. So then you want to assign your rights that you have from the underlying contract to the end buyer. And what that is going to look like is here is your company assigning it to whoever you're assigning it to. And then you're going to have the purchase price, what your assignment fee is, minus the deposit that you have that person putting down. Now, in this, it protects all of our rights. And in another video, I'll go into it in more detail, but I'm trying to keep this one short and sweet and just the basis of wholesaling real estate. So, like I said, you want to have your $20,000 assignment cooked into there so they know how much you're going to be making. But like I said, that shouldn't matter because they're still going to make money on the property. Now, total due at closing by the assignee is going to be the total 115. Now, those are two different contracts from the first one that I showed you. So the numbers are a little different, but of course, it's still just about the foundation of what we're talking about. So you get this assignment of contract, and then what do you do then? You got the assignment of contract, you have all the paperwork. Once again, baby, we're using the internet. So we're going to go to title companies near me. And then I also have a video about title companies that I want to share with you. So in these title companies, you want to ask and call up and say, hey, are you guys investor friendly title companies? And majority of those know what that means. And if they don't know what that means, just say, do you work with assignment fees? And if they say yes, then you hit a pot of gold, and you probably want to continue to work with that company because they know how to handle the transactions. So in a nutshell, guys, that's really it. I'm going to try to continue to drop more videos to teach you guys in detail and an entire 30-day process on how to do this. Once again, I appreciate you watching the video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you have any questions. And if you just want me to help you move a deal, please DM me on Instagram at zjones.1. I got y'all. Appreciate y'all. Fuck with me.